this video, we will learn how to make boosted practice tracks, boost tracks, however you want to call them, that you can use in Planning Center and to help your musicians learn the stuff that they need to know so they can be great. Check it out. Let's get started. So once you have your multi-tracks file that you've downloaded here, and you've cranked that open, it was in your downloads file. Typically in our other videos we've worked with the multi-track file, but now we're going to make boost tracks. So in order to make boost tracks, you need to actually get at the separate individual stems that come as a part of the multi-track. So we're going to click into this folder right here that's called multi-tracks, and once we get inside there, you can see that you have a separate wave file. Some of you might have bought MP3s. I wouldn't suggest that. I mean, for an extra $5 you can get it wave, which is way higher quality. So we have these separate files that are the same ones that get pulled into Ableton when we set up a song, but for purposes of this video, I'm actually going to use Logic. You can use GarageBand the same way. The interfaces are so similar that you can kind of use this with any DAW program that you might be using. So in this case, what we're going to do, I have my Logic file set up over here. So the first thing that I'm actually going to do is I'm going to set the BPMs, and when I do that, this song is actually 72.5. It's going to disappear to 73. That's okay. It's in the key of C. If you look down here and drill down here, you can see that it actually does have the correct tempo of 72.5 set. That doesn't matter that much because we're not going to use the internal click right here in Logic. So anyway, that's all set up the way we need it to. We have it set for key of C. That's fine. The time signature is also correct. And now what we're going to do is start pulling over those stems. So the first thing that I want to do is, typically what I do is I'm going to get the click, and I'm going to change this to cues. And this to click. You've seen some of my quirks before if you've watched my videos. So we got click and we've got cues, and we're going to bring those over into Logic and drop them on those first two tracks. Yes, we're going to use the existing tracks. Now we got our click and we got our cues, and they're up top, so they're nice and accessible. This is the best place to have them. And now we're going to come back and we'll get the rest. So this time I'm going to just use Command A and grab all these files, but now I'm going to hold down Command and get rid of click and cues because we already did that. And the rest of the tracks will come over alphabetically. And so there we have it. We're going to use existing tracks. And now Logic is going to go ahead and put those in for us. You can see the waveforms starting to go, and then once everything's all dropped in and ready, then you can test it out, make sure everything is sounding good.
One.
And there we go. So
two,
this would be the first thing that you would make would be a practice
three,
track.
4.
That's where you have your click. Everything is at unity. You can see here 0 unity. So everything's at unity, and at this point, the first thing we'll do is we'll make a practice track. So in, I believe you use export function for everything inside of GarageBand, but if you have Logic, we're going to bounce project or section, and we're going to change this to MP3. We don't need high quality. We don't want high quality for these practice and boost tracks because you're going to put a lot of them in Planning Center, and most of the time you'll probably have a storage limit there. So we'll set it as MP3. I can see right now that it's set the song start at all ones, and then at the end it's 98 first beat. So let's go and just double check that because we don't want tracks that are cut off. That is not fun, and it looks like they've got it just right. So we're going to just double check Logic on that one. And now we'll come down and we're going to bounce the project or section. We're set for MP3. We got everything else. That's fine. And the first thing you're going to want to do at this point is find a place that you're going to send it. So I'm going to send it to, I'll use my Ableton video series. And I'm going to call these, oh, praise the name, boosts. And this is the naming convention I use. Now this first file is actually a practice track, so I'm going to call this "Oh Praise the Name," and then I'm going to call it in all caps "practice track." That makes it easy to see, and then we'll bounce that out. So Logic is now going to bounce that out. All right, now that that is done, what I usually like to do to make the individual boost tracks is I'm going to take the click and the cues, and I am going to bring those down to around like let's say minus 4. We don't want those to be so loud that they get in the way of hearing the instrument you're trying to learn. And now all the rest of these tracks, I'm going to grab hold of them and I'm going to take them down to minus 11, because the spirit of a boost track is that the stuff you don't need to hear as much is not as loud. So if we were starting out with an acoustic boost in this case, we would go ahead and take the acoustic and push it maybe all the way to +6. It may not be necessary, but this is going to be good, and we can test it just by going to that section of the song. I can hear that acoustic way up ahead of everything else, so that's fine. And then it's as simple as going back in and either exporting or balancing, however it is that your program exports to an MP3. We still got this, is still correct. We're going to come back. It's going to default me to that same folder, and this time I'm going to call it AG Boost. And now this will kind of stay, and you'll see how easy this is. All right, good. So at this point, you really can we'll return this one back down to -11, so it's the same as everything else. And you can really just make boost tracks for the stuff you're actually going to need it for. You may go through and make it for every single stem. Maybe you got tons of space in Planning Center, or maybe you just anticipate yourself needing like alto and tenor and things like that. Typically, I'll just put in the stuff that I know we're going to actually need. So I know I have a bass player that's going to need a boost track made. So I'll make a bass boost, and then I'm going to make a drum boost. So let's just check that one out.
1,
We start
2,
out.
1,
Let's get to
2.
There, we got some drums here. So you can hear now that the drums are out ahead. And here they are when they come and kick in, a lot heavier. And we can try it one more place when it's super heavy. All right, you can hear that that's going to be right. So we'll go ahead and take this one, and we'll bounce out that drum boost. And so I'll change acoustic guitar with drums, and off we go. All right, and that's how you make boost tracks. If you wanted to go back into that folder, you can see wherever you put them. You can go into that folder where you made the boosts, and if you named it Opraise the name boosts, and there you go. You got all those ready. You could drag those right into Planning Center, and they'll be named properly. And then since they're MP3s, you can even transpose them from within Planning Center. So if you want to make boost tracks in a key that is other than the one that you already made, you can transpose that right from Planning Center. So I hope this has been helpful, and go ahead and give a like, subscribe, and we will see you next time. Have a good one.